What's the crack, everyone? It's Ollie from B2B Sports here. We are back to talk about Super Bowl LVIII. The Kansas City Chiefs defeat the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in overtime. The Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time since 2004-2005. Now, this is not up for debate, but this Chiefs team is the new dynasty. 3 Super Bowls in the past 4 years is just absolutely ridiculous. And can they do the three-peat? It's never been done before, but we'll jump back into that a little bit later. At this point in the video, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up. It really motivates me to keep producing content for this channel and to try and grow this platform as big as possible. Let's jump straight into the Super Bowl then. The Super Bowl this year was being held in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. It's a state-of-the-art stadium, a new modern stadium. The facilities, the pitch looks absolutely insane. I was watching a video on YouTube prior to the Super Bowl about all the facilities and the technologies that this stadium has. It's unreal. There's a nightclub on the sidelines, a huge 3D printed torch, a retractable pitch which sits out in the Las Vegas sunlight for most of the day. It is the perfect place to hold a Super Bowl. The city is built for hosting huge sporting events. It has done so for the past 30, 40, 50 years. And you know the party's going to be good when you win as well. Now, Sam and I discussed our predictions for the Super Bowl in our latest podcast, so check that out if you haven't done so already. But one of the key differences that I highlighted in that was that I think this is going to fall down to the 2 quarterbacks. Both teams are very talented. You can argue that the 49ers team was more well-rounded, but ultimately Patrick Mahomes has been there and done that and got the t-shirt, whereas Brock Purdy, although he's played incredibly well and to a high level this year, does he have that next level gear to go to? Whereas Patrick Mahomes has proved that time and time again. The game got off to a slow start, to be honest. It was a very defense-heavy first half of football. The 49ers really took over in that regard and flexed their physical dominance on the game. The Chiefs couldn't really get anything going on offense. There was a lot of frustration from the sidelines. You see that video of Travis Kelce almost shoving Andy Reid, really showing his frustration of him not receiving the ball. You see a lot of chatter online at how disrespectful and how, ugly those scenes were with Travis Kelce and Coach Reid. But, it's an ultra physical sport. These guys are fired up to the max. Although the scenes did look bad and it wasn't the most professional image to come out of the NFL, I didn't see anything in that, to be honest. These guys and coaches push each other to the limit. They know the standards that they set for each other. And I do believe Travis was just showing his frustrations at the Chiefs not working together as efficiently as they can do, especially on the biggest stage of the lot. I don't think Coach Reid saw anything in it. I don't think Travis Kelce saw anything in it. The heat of the moment gets to everyone at the highest level in sports. Look at Novak Djokovic, for example. There's been countless times where he's exploded at his coaches in the box, but that's what makes these athletes at the pinnacle of the sport who they are and why they are so great, because they have this passion, this drive and this determination that most people would never ever even be able to comprehend. And as we saw in sort of the third and fourth quarter, they got Travis Kelce going. 49ers took a 10-3 lead going into the half. It wasn't the most exciting first half of Super Bowl action, but in the end we all know that defense wins championships, and that's exactly what the 49ers were doing at that time. Quick side note, let's talk about the Super Bowl Usher performance. It sort of mirrored the flow of the game, really. It started off slow and got better towards the end. A lot of theatrics, a lot of dancing, a lot of gyrating, as we saw. We got a little warning message pop on the screen about excessive gyrating in this performance or something. It's good to see Little John and Ludacris pop up as well. Would have been even better if we saw Biebs. But on the whole, Usher's got a couple of bangers. Not really my cup of tea. So I'll give that 6 out of 10 for me, to be honest. It was alright. It was okay. If in comparison to Rihanna last year, I think she put on a better show. And she just has a lot more well-known songs, in my opinion. As we touched on earlier, Chiefs started to get the chains moving in the third and fourth quarters. Started to get Travis Kelce in the game. Used Rice, Valdez-Scantling, and most importantly, Patrick Mahomes used his own legs. Extended the plays when the pocket was collapsing. I think he rushed for 70-odd yards in the Super Bowl in the end, and that was vital, especially on that last drive in overtime. 49ers had flashes of brilliance too. I did think Brock Purdy played extremely well. That trick play where Jennings threw the ball back across field to McCaffrey on the screen. That was unreal. Exactly what you expect to see from the 49ers offense. I did think that Kittle's performance was a little bit underwhelming. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was carrying a slight shoulder injury, and the majority of his workload was blocking. But a guy like Kittle, you've got to get him the ball as well. You can see how influential Travis Kelce was on the other side of the field. Deebo Samuel was kept relatively quiet too. Incredible play by the Chiefs cornerback McDuffie to stop what would have been a near touchdown to Deebo in the end zone. But yeah, just shout out the Chiefs corners. McDuffie and Snead have been playing at such a high level all year round. Just another reason why the 49ers weren't able to unleash all of their offensive talent that they've got. Harrison Butker was again unreal in the Super Bowl. He broke the record twice for the longest Super Bowl field goal. I think it was 54 yards, and then he hit a 57 yard. I can't express how important a kicker and a punter are. To have them executing every time just gives your team that extra edge, that extra swing of momentum, and every point in these big games counts. And that's exactly what Butker did. Now the 49ers elected to receive the ball first, and I think that raised a couple of eyebrows that both teams get a chance to score in these new OT rules. If the receiving team scores a touchdown on the first possession, the other side gets a chance to reply. And if they do match that, then we go again. The ball swings back to the initial receiving team. And I don't think the 49ers players actually realised that. I think Kyle Juszczyk sort of insinuated that if the 49ers scored, that would have won the game for the 49ers. To me, that's crazy how these new OT rules are not drilled into these players, especially going into a Super Bowl. It's baffling. Even the refs explained it as well. I think the Chiefs players alluded to the fact that they'd been doing new OT drills in training, in practice for this all week. But to hear that the 49ers players weren't clued up about this is pretty surprising. In overtime, I think it really hit home the level of the two quarterbacks at play here. Brock Purdy drove his team down to kick a field goal, whereas Patrick Mahomes drove his team down and scored the winning touchdown. That's no knock on Brock Purdy at all. He's a good level quarterback. He's a high level quarterback. But in terms of that next level, Patrick Mahomes certainly has that over Brock Purdy. You know, that 15-20 yard scramble from Patrick Mahomes to get him into the red zone. The guy's a freak. The guy's unreal. Travis Kelce then driving his team down to the 5 yard line. And then McCole Hardman, of all people, to secure the win for the Chiefs. Scenes going off in Kansas City. This really is a team that's going to go down in the history books. There's been a lot of talk on social media this week about Patrick Mahomes being the new GOAT. A lot of people with probably a little bit too much recency bias, I suppose. Don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes' stats are out of this world. But Tom Brady's won 7 rings. Patrick Mahomes has 3. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, people. He still has a long way to go to accomplish what Tom Brady did in his career. There's no doubt in the facts, though. If you compare the two in their first 6 seasons, I think Mahomes just edges it, which is, I suppose, why people are jumping on this bandwagon. But I suppose, how do you measure GOAT status? I mean, in my eyes, success is probably number 1. How many titles, how many trophies, how many championships did they win in their career? Longevity, I suppose, is another key factor. You know, if Patrick Mahomes was to retire next season, would you still class him as the GOAT in, say, 10, 20 years' time? Tom Brady's career went on 20 plus years, and he continued to win into his 40s. So longevity is I suppose, a key factor. Consistency. Tom Brady, when he wasn't winning Super Bowls, was getting a weakened Patriots side into the playoffs consistently every year. And that drive and that hunger to continue to win when things aren't going your way is super, super important. And I suppose magnitude and reach and how influential you are as a sports person is another big GOAT factor. NFL is an American sport, but how far can you reach globally with your image? And I do believe Patrick Mahomes is starting to do that, with a little help of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce this season, of course. But everyone's talking about the Chiefs, everyone's talking about how good Patrick Mahomes is. And so I do believe Patrick Mahomes is well and truly on his way to GOAT status, but he's still got a lot more to prove. But he's on that path, and I think he's the closest that we've seen on that path to Brady too. I think Coach Reid deserves the utmost respect as well for this Chiefs dynasty. His flexibility, his play calling, his personality to let these guys be themselves. Sometimes in the NFL, play calling can be a bit rigid. I think that makes teams become stagnant. and stop progressing forward. But some of the trickery, some of the play calling, evolving with the times is outstanding from Coach Reid. And he'll definitely go down as one of the greatest coaches to ever do it, in my opinion. So there we have it. The Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions yet again. After 4 or 5 months of following football, these Swifties have got a Super Bowl. I've been waiting a long time for that, and I know many Vikings fans have been waiting a lot longer than I have as well. A long old off-season awaits. We've got the NFL draft coming up in a couple of months. Free agency starts, and then we do it all again in September. Also, Valdez Scantling waving the Chiefs flag and sticking it right into the NFL logo at the end of the game in the celebrations was absolutely cold. Just top-tier content that was. The Chiefs have done it again. What was scary is I think they're only going to get better, especially on offense. So brace yourselves, teams in the NFL. This could be a rough one. The benchmark's there, the benchmark's set. Who's going to step up to stop these Chiefs winning the three-peat? Because with the quarterback they have, the head coach that they have, the tight end that they have, the defense that they have, they could seriously achieve that next year. Let us know your thoughts down below on the Super Bowl. Were the Chiefs worthy winners in your opinion? And let's make some early Super Bowl predictions. Who is going to win Super Bowl 59 next year? But cheers for watching and listening, everyone. Enjoy the off-season and peace out.